Alright, what's going on, you guys? Brian here, and this is my WWE Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live recap. I am sorry if there is any background noise in this video. I am trying this new webcam thing I got a couple days ago to record videos. So hopefully it works. I'm going to try to figure out how to, get rid of the background. If there's any background noise or in the video, I apologize for that. But a lot to talk about as far as Raw and SmackDown are concerned, especially with the ever so popular wild card rule that they announced to try to get ratings boosted. Because apparently they are receiving a lot of push from USA, or NBC Universal, and Fox, who are basically pushing WWE to end this brand extension, and WWE doesn't look like they want to do that anytime soon. So let's just get right into it. Last Monday, they announced a wild card rule where first they started out saying that there would be 3 superstars. Any 3 superstars from Raw could appear on SmackDown Live, and any 3 superstars from SmackDown Live could appear on Raw at any given time. Basically, they could not get this straightened out. First they said 3, then later on they said 4, and then and it turned into where 6 guys from SmackDown were appearing on Raw last Monday, and then I think 5 appeared on SmackDown last night. Honestly, they basically just could not. They cannot get this straightened out for nothing. I'm sorry to say, Raw was actually boring last Monday. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just watched it earlier today. I'm recording this on a Wednesday. And I DVR'd Raw from Monday, and I watched about, I think I watched maybe 2 or 3 matches, and I turned it off, and I put SmackDown on from last night. And basically, it was like, I just was like, you know what, I cannot sit through this, because when they did that, when they announced it at the beginning of the show on Monday that this wild card rule, because Roman Reigns showed up. He's on SmackDown Live, but he promised to show up on Raw. Then you had former WWE champion Daniel Bryan coming out. The current champion, or the current WWE champion Kofi Kingston, would come out. Vince would make Kofi defending the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan as the main event for Raw last Monday. Then Drew McIntyre would come out and basically say he has some unfinished business with Roman Reigns, and that he was going to claim Roman back to reality. So Vince made a WrestleMania rematch between those two. It was just confusing. It was everything about this whole wild card rule is confusing. That I don't get it. I really just did not understand it at all. So basically, to run down who showed up on Raw from SmackDown last Monday was Roman, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Lars Sullivan. Who else? Elias. Even though they said that Elias didn't count, him and Shane don't count. They actually helped, or they actually beat down Roman Reigns during his match with Drew McIntyre. I'm trying to think. I think I'm missing somebody else. I have a feeling I'm missing somebody else, but pretty much it was like, okay. And then on SmackDown last night, you had from Raw, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, the Usos, the Miz, which were 5 from Raw. So I'm like, wait a minute, how can you go from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to whatever limited superstars? And they started off saying, oh, only 3 superstars from each brand could appear on either show at any given time. Now it's like they couldn't even get that right. 2 nights in a row they could not get that right. So basically, Raw, Kofi Kingston retained his championship over Daniel Bryan. Roman defeated McIntyre via disqualification because Shane and Elias got involved. We saw Miz go after Shane on both Raw and SmackDown. Then, what else? Bunch of other stuff happened that I really did not care for. I'm sorry, guys, if this is a long video, but getting into SmackDown last night, we had, for the second time in 24 hours, another WWE Championship defense by Kofi Kingston. This one in a triple threat match. He defended against AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. He came out on top, even surviving interference from Kevin Owens, who attacked Xavier Woods to try and distract Kofi. Kofi basically has really proven a lot since becoming champion. He has, proven that he deserves to be champion, and because he even took 3 Blue Thunder bombs in this triple threat match from Sami Zayn and kicked out every single time. So, my hat's off to Kofi for a great performance last night, as well as on Monday Night Raw on Monday, successfully defending his title against Daniel Bryan. We saw, speaking of Daniel Bryan, him and Rowan defeated the Usos, who made an appearance on SmackDown last night, and they became the new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. Even though they were going to be they were going to have the titles handed to them by Shane McMahon, but the Usos came out and said, no, you want to be deserving tag team champions, make the match and prove it, fight us in a match. So Rowan and Daniel Bryan, they defeated the Usos last night. We saw what I thought was a really good match between Ali and Andrade, both integral parts of that Money in the Bank ladder match coming up a week from Sunday for the men. They'll be representing SmackDown in that matchup, even though it'll be every man for himself. But either brand could win that. Either brand's superstar could win that contract. They then both received RKOs out of nowhere from Randy Orton, who is another member of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. They had a tag match with Ember Moon and Carmella taking on Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Originally, this was going to be a 6-woman tag with Bayley joining Carmella and Ember Moon, and Charlotte Flair joining Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, but obviously something happened with where that changed to a regular tag match. Then it was announced that next week, Kairi Sane and Asuka are going to face Rose and Deville in a women's tag match, so that'll be interesting to see what happens next week with that one. Other than that, I think I mentioned what happened on SmackDown last night. As I mentioned, I did not watch all of Raw. I just could not sit through it. I'm sorry, guys, if there's no recap as far as Raw is concerned. The only highlight was that wild card rule that they introduced, even though just 3 weeks ago they did the Superstar Shakeup, and now it's like, oh, well, we're going to do a wild card rule this time. So that basically made no sense. But other than that, I thought SmackDown was way better than Raw this week. I really enjoyed that triple threat match that happened for the WWE Championship. Obviously, hopefully they do a lot better next week, as far as that'll be the go home shows for Money in the Bank. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Raw and SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was way better this week than Raw. Not by much, but still was way better. Even though I didn't watch all of Raw, but still I thought SmackDown was way better. So yeah, I mean, basically, I'm hoping that they do some things different to really improve and get fans to really want to watch their product again. Simple as that. I mean, obviously, because there's no competition for them, they figured they could just, and I've been watching wrestling for a very long time, since I can remember, and I've never been, and I've been a big WWE fan for a long time, but I have never really, basically they haven't gotten me excited for any of their shows the last few years. So hopefully that changes. Hopefully they change that, but I don't see anything in the near future for that. So pretty much this has been my mainly my WWE SmackDown recap. Even though the only match I watched on Raw was I think I only watched one match. To correct myself from earlier, I only watched the Baron Corbin, Lashley versus Rollins and Styles matchup from Raw Monday night, which I thought was okay, but it is what it is. So with that being said, hopefully this video I can upload this video to YouTube without it being too long. So with that in mind, this has been my mainly SmackDown recap for this week's episode of SmackDown Live. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.